Good evening, and welcome to Pax Americana Media. Today we are honored to introduce our newly elected mayor, Earl Perkins, who has just taken office after a decisive victory in the recent election. With a clear vision for the future of our city, Earl brings a wealth of experience and a fresh perspective to the role. Earl is poised to lead our community through both the challenges and opportunities ahead. We're excited to delve into their plans for the city and hear more of what we can expect in the coming years. Joining us to lead this important conversation is our host, John Johnson, a familiar face here at Pax Americana Media. Today, they will guide us through an in-depth discussion with our new mayor, exploring the key priorities and challenges that lie ahead for our city. We're in for an engaging and informative interview, so let's get started. Any questions before we start, Mr. Mayor?
No, sir, John. I'd just like to thank you for having me out here.
Thanks for being here. First question, vision and priorities. We want to know what motivated you to run for mayor and what do you believe led to your election victory?
Well, I was motivated to run for mayor by my desire for change. Looking around at all the other candidates I saw at least campaigning during I don't really know how to describe it, but I guess the pre-election when everyone was putting in their bids. I didn't see anyone though I thought would get the job done. So I decided, I'd go for it, and it just worked out. I believe a large part of my victory can be attributed by the Sheriff Calamity M. Tempest endorsing me as his pick for mayor. That and me already being associated and a well-known person in the sheriff's office, that influence along with a large amount of campaigning are probably the biggest factors of my victory.
All right. And what are your top three priorities as you begin your term, and how are you going to address those priorities?
My top three priorities are pretty basic but essential. I'd say addressing crime, addressing the army, and addressing the natives. For crime, I'm going to do everything in my power with increasing cooperation between the sheriff, who I know very well, and the chief marshal, who is one of the newly elected councilmen as well. So hopefully, with the combination of previous relations and new relations forming, we will be able to have a really cohesive force between those two. As for the army, I'd like to meet with the colonel. Now, everyone says the colonel can't be reasoned with, which may be true, but I have yet to see it. So I'm going to schedule a meeting with him and we'll see how that goes. Because, quite frankly, the army running amok on the street shooting people is just unacceptable. So that'll be my plan to address that for now. And the natives, I am actively creating the Commission for Indian Affairs. As we speak, it is being voted on by the city council. So if that's made, it'll be a new position within the government devoted solely for anything involving the Indians. Enforcing policies towards the natives, collecting evidence on any grievances against the natives, and just anything to do with the natives, that commission will take care of.
All right, very nice. Next question. What are your plans to tackle some key issues like public safety? And have you been met with any real problems yet?
My plans to tackle public safety are pretty simple. I'll continue cooperation with the sheriff and issue kill on sight orders for any known domestic terrorists, those who like to run around on horses slinging dynamite, just no matter how many times you shoot them, they come back and do it again. So kill on sight orders for those. And the only problem I've really had is being swarmed with DMs asking for positions. But other than that, everything's been pretty smooth so far.
How you engage with the underserved communities and ensure their needs are met? And also, what strategies do you have to boost some economic development?
I'm not too aware of any underserved communities in Georgetown. I mean, I'm of the opinion that every settler has the same rights and opportunities as any other. My DMs are always open to any settler wishing to speak their mind and ask any questions about the town. But as far as economic policy, I am quite limited by higher powers as to what I can pass and what I can't do to affect the economy.
What do you anticipate as your biggest challenge as mayor, and how do you plan to overcome that challenge? Also, how will you stay connected to the concerns of all citizens and law enforcement throughout your term?
My biggest challenge is going to be probably living up to the promises I made on the campaign trail. Because the biggest promise I made was addressing the violence in the streets, which, while I can pass all the legislation in the world, at the end of the day, when it comes to addressing crime, it is up to the sheriff and the marshals. They're the ones who enforce the law. I can give them the tools, but at the end of the day, it's up to the lawman to stop that. And as far as staying connected to the concerns of all citizens and law enforcement, like I said earlier, DMs are always open to anyone who needs me, and I am in every law enforcement and even the Army server in the community. So I try to browse those now and again, see what's going around, seeing what's being said.
What are your plans for positions in the council, such as juries or other government roles?
My plans for positions in the council, I will be opening up the judiciary rather soon, so keep a lookout for that. I don't know how exactly applications or whatever will work for that. That still needs to be talked about, but a entire judiciary will be coming to the town very soon, as well as there may be some roles within the Commission of Indian Affairs if that is passed by the council.
All right, last question. How do you plan to work with state and federal governments to bring resources and support to our city?
Diplomacy, I mean, that's as simple as it is, you know. It's just as opportunities present themselves, I have to meet with the governments diplomatically and just see what can come of it.
I said final question. Actually, alive. There's three more mini questions inside of it. How do you plan to defeat the native threat as your attacks continue to worsen?
Well, I believe the Commission of Indian Affairs, which I have previously mentioned, which is being voted on as we speak, I believe that'll at least help. And if that does not at least slow down the rate or the severity of the attacks, I will employ the sheriff's office with cooperation with the marshals to the best of our abilities.
Also, what new laws do you see yourself introducing within the near future?
I want dynamite kills to bring a bounty because it's kind of, I don't even know if it's a bug or what, but as it stands, killing someone with dynamite does not bring a bounty. So you can sling dynamite with immunity to being arrested, which is just kind of unfair to everyone in the town.
Final question for real this time. How do you hope your tenure as mayor will be remembered when your term concludes?
I hope I'll be remembered as a decent mayor. You know, I don't need to be the best there's ever lived, but I want to, sounds cliche, but leave the town better than I got it and maybe not get kidnapped by the army. We'll see.
All right, now for the conclusion. That brings us to the end of today's special segment. We'd like to extend a sincere thanks to Mayor Earl for taking the time to share his vision and plans with us. As we
Well,
look
thank you for
forward to
having
the
me, John.
future under their leadership, Pax Americana Media will continue to keep you informed on all the developments that shape our city. Big thank you as well to our host, John Johnson, me, for expertly guiding this conversation. And of course, thanks to our viewers for tuning in. Stay with us for more news and insights right here on Pax Americana Media. Have a great evening.